Oh my gosh, it's episode 11. Is that
Wow.
correct?
Moving on
Wow.
down the road.
Moving on down the road, we're almost up to our anniversary.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
wow, that's true.
So we
Wow.
have to do something really exciting for that. I don't know
Wow.
actually when that is. Does anyone know? It's coming up really soon. Because
It,
episode 12,
time flies when you're
it's
having fun.
once a
I
month.
wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, neither was I, because I was saying, when is our anniversary? It's episode 11. It would be episode 12.
You sure it's not 15?
Well, it may be for you, Mark. Um, so how is everyone? Bill, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Okay. And Mark, we want to know how
Great.
you're doing. Okay.
Excellent. Of course. How are you, Paul?
I'm really, really good.
Good.
Did I
Good.
sell it? Okay, maybe.
We believe you.
So, as we had talked about last episode, if you remember, we talked about buying Octopanzer, which is Warlord's new vehicle on vehicle game, and it uses their 156 scale armored models, and it is something we've all played.
Yes.
I did the cheapo version and bought the PDF and then printed out everything and glued it together with spray mount onto cardboard and built everything. And then Mark organized it all for me. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, it seemed to work out.
That's a lot of work. I went the other route where I bought the rule book plus the cards plus the counters. And I think you could only get that directly through Warlord. I didn't see that in any stores.
Did you go to Brooker's? Because it's at Brooker's.
Oh, they have the card packs too for sale? Oh, okay. No, I got it from Warlord.
Okay.
And I just hung on to Paul's coattails and let him purchase the PDF.
Well, since you provided the terrain, you arranged for the table, you brought your smile, I couldn't do, but what could I do? Just
It's
had
all good. It's all
I
good.
had to pay for everything. It was only
There you go.
$25 though, or 24.98 or something for the PDF rulebook. And that's the entire
Oh, nice.
purchase that I've made.
It's
Nice.
up to 90 if you get all the cards because you get all the vehicle cards for all four countries. You get the deck of event cards, you get the deck of asset cards, and you get all the count. You get enough counters for 5 tanks, which was kind of annoying, but then
Yeah,
so you only get
because
enough for 5.
that made no sense to me. So I printed enough for 10 tanks.
Yes.
And that worked out really well because I think, Mark, you had 4, 5? And I had,
Four tanks, right?
yeah, you had 4 and I had 3. So that's
Yes.
7. So we would
Yeah.
not have been able to play unless Moi hadn't created more cards and
Thinking ahead.
with my head. Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
there you go.
So thoughts. Let's go with Phil first because Mark and I were
Yes.
there and we're eager to hear about.
So I had 2 different games, both Americans versus Germans. I think in the first game it was a Tiger and 2 Panzer IVs versus a bunch of Shermans, an Easy 8, a 76, and a 75. And then in the second game that we brought, the Americans got a Pershing, an EC8, and a 75 versus a Panther, a Hetzer, and I think a Stug. Um, so it's nice in that it's not just, there's more than just tanks. There's all these different cards that impact your game. So if you're not interested in a little bit of randomness in the game, you might not be a fan of the cards, but I thought the cards were great. Um, it's a mixture of random events plus they're cards that let you build up your basically hand of assets, and these include things like infantry, airstrikes, anti-tank gun shots, artillery shots, and these don't actually go on the board, so you don't need infantry rushing out of a building or anything like that. It just says infantry attack the tank from a building if you're within 6 inches or something like that. And so it gives you more to worry about than just the tanks that you know where they are. There might be other enemies around, which I thought added a good sense of suspense to the game. I don't know. What did you guys think of all the cards, the action
Uh,
cards, and the?
I agree with you. I enjoyed the cards a lot. That threw a wrench in your plans. You didn't know what was going on. I think Paul had an what was it, an 88 off board that change the game a little bit, and then airstrikes and stuff like that. So yeah, I like the card. It reminded me of Dead Man's Hand a little bit, when you throw in, because I think you can match each other's cards and then what do you call it? Disable them, right? If we both have the same card.
There are event cards that could cancel
Yeah,
cards as well. Yeah,
that reminded me of Dead Man's Hand, where you could cancel each other out.
yeah.
I like the mechanic where you have to purchase them. So you're kind of knowing what you're facing because that's before the game. So I knew I needed the 88 because I had a KV1 and it was early war. So
Oh, you guys played. You guys played earlier, so you made your own stats for those tanks, and you didn't use the tanks in the main rulebook.
I used almost all the main rulebook stats, except for the BT7 and the Panzer III, but those are I correlated with research that I did, and their stats match up perfectly with the other sources that I had. So it was clear that the numbers they're using for armor values directly translate to many other games. So it was very easy to create the Panzer III and the BT7.
That's good.
Which made it really fun, I thought. Because,
Yeah, for sure.
I get the 3 dice and my radio checks were almost always maintained. That's one of the event cards that's really fun. It's like static, but it affects both of you. We didn't know that, so we were like, waiting, static, huh? Oh.
Oh.
Sounds good.
Yeah, there was a lot. I mean, it's a really easy game to learn. It seemed like you could pick it up really fast. I liked a lot of it, definitely.
Yeah, the initiative system was pretty interesting too, because there's basically a numbered chit for each tank on the board, and basically you pull random chits and assign them to the various tanks. However, each side could make a radio check, and if you pass your radio check roll, then you could look at them and then distribute them to your tanks on your side. You could pick like 3 if you've got 3 tanks, and then decide which tank you want to give the best number to and stuff like that.
And there's
Yeah.
event cards that allow you to change the numbers during the activation sequence.
We did not see any of those in our games, so yeah, okay, but all right.
Yeah, I liked those that randomness a lot. I think I got lucky in our game where I cleared the radio for the Russians a lot more than I probably should have.
Yeah, agreed. Especially early war, they might come up with some additional rules, although your radio check numbers are really hard to roll. For
Yeah,
Russia.
I
And
was
so,
doing really well
yeah,
that
you
game.
were, had it all down and under control.
It
We did
reminded
play-
me a lot of Squad Leader.
Mhm.
And a lot of the rules connected, I think, directly to Squad Leader. The 2 things I thought, there's a lot of little chits and stuff. So, I don't know about that for me personally, thinking about the game, like if I'm gonna bust out bolt action or that, I might just bust out bolt action over, so, that's the only drawback I saw.
Yeah,
Well,
because for each of your tanks, you've got like an index card size card, and that's where you put all the different chits. And you have chits for the various kinds of ammo you could load, the skills of your 3 crew members. And these chits are kind of small, and they're a little hard to read sometimes. I mean, even I was having trouble trying to determine which ammo type was which sometimes. So yeah.
Now, I wish they could translate the tank values over to bolt action where you could like get, different AP rounds and stuff. That was really cool. I like that a lot. I like that like the BT7 is really different than the T34 because, in bolt action, a medium tank is a medium tank is a medium tank, so it's sort of like, oh, why did I purchase that if it's just a medium tank? Where in Achtung Panzer it really had a value to the tank, I think.
Yeah, there's
Right.
certainly a lot more skills, a lot more numbers for a tank here than there were in the other game in bolt action. Yeah.
I liked that you could disable a tank by just hitting the track, and that mechanic started. I think that happened to your game, right, Phil? That
You have to hit the track twice before it's disabled. Yeah. Yeah, each tank has got like there's tracks, there's hull, and then there's turret. And it seems like the first shot in any location doesn't do permanent damage, although you might damage an internal system or crew temporarily. But any 2 hits to the same system and your tank's knocked out, pretty much, it seems like.
The one thing I did notice is that when you hit a tank, especially if it's open, crew exposed, which you have to play kind of because you get a free spot if you're crew exposed, which is really invaluable. That you start taking crew damage just being hit. You don't have to be penetrated.
Yeah, your commander will take damage if he's poking his head out of the hatch for sure. And I mean, in the second game, pretty much by the end of the game, every commander was wounded and buttoned up inside their tank and not going to go out again.
Yeah,
Everyone's tank had been hit.
That's very realistic. I think, obviously I didn't fight in that war, but just what I've read, people
once the shooting starts, you're going to button up. Yeah.
Once the shooting starts, you're going to button up. We didn't use smoke.
Smoke was very useful because we used it in the second game because the Americans had this Pershing and that thing was nasty. That was better than anything the Germans had. So the German tank, one of the German tanks would just fire smoke at the Pershing, because it turns out in this game that once you move at least in the games that we were playing, that once you moved your tank into a position where you could see another tank, both tanks would just suddenly halt and just keep shooting at each other until a tank died. Maneuvering would stop at that point. And so what we did then is, because the Pershing was so much better, one of the tanks fired a smoke round at the Pershing. And that means all the Pershing shots were affected by the smoke. Shooting at the Pershing also affected by smoke, but we were outnumbering it. So we were scared of the Pershing doing damage to us. So smoke was very useful.
Well, that was interesting because we didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
Mark and I were like, it was like roller derby. We were just moving and moving and moving and moving, never stopping unless we knew we had our round loaded. That was something you figured out, Mark, that loading rounds was really tough for the Russian.
Yeah, definitely. You got to really plan ahead of what you're doing for sure.
So in each of the tanks, you have 3 crewmen, a gunner, a driver, and a commander. In the second game we played, we basically made the gunner as high a skill as possible so that he could get the fast loading easily. So he was skilled in that. And then the driver and the commander were not as good. We were pouring everything at the gunner. So that made pretty much every tank was fast loading every turn. We did realize that the Americans, after the game, that the Americans did have stabilizers that we kind of forgot about, which means they could move and shoot without a penalty.
Right. And the penalty is just one die. You just lose one die, right?
Yes, but if you only have one dice, if you're targeted, the choices are spotted and aimed. But if you're just spotted, normally it's spotted as one dice. But if you're moving, you have to roll 2 dice, and they both have to hit. Then, so it's much harder than if you're moving and shooting without a full-on aim.
Which I like better than the bolt action system where it's improbable and you get a 6 and you have to roll again and try to get a 6. I like just that you tumble them and you make it.
It seems like everyone, you need a 5 to hit, but you'll have more dice depending upon what better shot that you have. Yeah,
I think not knowing the game, I think I made my commanders the better part of the team. So you have to play with that part of it for sure.
And the commander is certainly good for spotting, but I mean, this was our second game. We put it all in the gunnery because if you're a veteran, anything you need a 2+. Regular is 3+, and a green is 4+. So a 2+, you're not going to miss much with anything if you're a veteran. So
I do like the mechanic where when you buy a tank, you can buy it at top rate. You pay more, but then your chances of getting more crew quality is available, but you're still rolling dice for that.
Yes.
Which Mark, of course, got a mid-sized tank and then rolled like 9 stars. And so his luck was incredible. But we tied, which is so bolt action-y.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we had the Americans won the first game. The Easy 8 took out a Tiger, and that was a nice shot. And then the second game, basically the Germans hid from the Pershing until it was the only they took out the other 2 tanks first, and then they ganged up on the Pershing when it was the only thing left.
And that's nice. For like 3 track hits, you're gonna
yeah. We killed it because we had 2 track hits and a hull hit. Because you die if you've got 3 hits, 3 structure hits as well. Will kill a vehicle.
Right. Well, they'll just bail out, right?
Yeah, they'll bail out. The tank's basically immobilized and out of action at that point. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
So now really enjoyed the game. Wish it was a little easier to get just the counters. It would be nice because they don't sell them with any tanks. You have to buy the Achtung Panzer sets right now, and they only give you enough for 5 in the starter. And in each of our games, we had 6 tanks. So it's like, well, I did have some handmade printed ones that we had to use for one of the tanks.
So one of the
Yeah.
things that I want to do next time I play, just to explain the mechanic, there are 3 action rounds per turn. And then the first action round, you're drawing chits, and you're drawing them secretively
Yeah.
from your opponent. And then if you have radio contact, you can view them and place them at your tanks. So you can kind of plan out. But then the next 2 action rounds, it's the same, which I thought was kind of like, shouldn't we just pick them up again and do it again? I think they're just trying to save time with that. But I was thinking I would just do a computer program, which I've already made, which is you just type in a letter, and that's the letter from A to the letter you typed in. And then it'll they'll print those out. And then you say P, for print me a tank, and it'll randomly pick one of them, remove it from the list,
Oh, okay.
show you it, and then print the list again so you know kind of what's left. And then you
Nice.
just keep doing that, and it's on a infinite loop, a while loop. So you just keep playing and playing and playing. That way, every turn, every action phase, you don't know. And if you have radio contact, you can assign it to the one that you know.
I was thinking though that they let you have that for that turn is so that you could pre-plan maybe.
Yeah, that's possible. I just like to play it that way
Yeah.
because it's so much more interesting to me. That was one mechanic that I kind of had a difficult time
Sure.
with. And we spent a lot of time doing that, and then it was kind of not that thrilling after the first turn. It was just like we saw everything and the way it was going to pan out, which is something I love about bolt action. You don't know. You have to decide
Yes.
at that
You never
moment.
know. You never know. Yeah, it incorporated a lot of different games. I thought it was a good game to play. It was fun.
But not fun enough to play our next meeting, right?
No, we got to get back to bolt action because you can't leave that too long.
True, true, true. Well, any other thoughts about bolt action? Phil, are you going to play again?
Achtung Panzer, definitely. I built a couple of tanks. I have another Soviet tank I could build so that I can have enough to field some Soviets. Since I have the cards for all 4 countries, I might as well flesh out my Soviets and finish them off. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing like the expand to like the desert or something like that as well. I'd love to see them do that.
I'm sure that's all in the works, I would imagine.
I think so too.
We all hope so.
Or early war or something like that, where you have light tanks or something.
Oh, the other thing I liked about it was you roll for the special rounds you get, and then you divvy them up amongst your tanks.
Yeah,
So-
special rounds just mean you have your basically your ammo is stronger, and those were nasty. I mean, we were playing like 1945 because we had Pershings and stuff on the table, and late war, the Americans have a big advantage in special munitions, and the Germans were afraid of those. I mean, the Pershing with special ammo did a whole lot of damage. So yeah.
Yeah, and the way you do damage is pretty detailed. You actually, they get kind of gruesome there with some of their
Oh yeah,
that you
the
read.
splinter in the leg and stuff.
Yeah, that was
Mhm.
it's very colorful. The game has got a lot
Yeah.
of thought put into it.
Mhm.
And I like it, and I think it would be fun to play with more people and fewer tanks per person.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
having to monitor 4 cards and stuff is a lot.
Yeah.
And then having some reinforcements, that might be fun too.
Yeah, so we
Sure.
only played the first scenario as well a couple of times, just to know. We didn't try any of the scenarios with reserves where you had to actually have objectives aside from shoot the other person's tank.
Yeah, I think we just played straight kill. I don't know if we played a scenario or anything.
Yeah, we played the first scenario.
We played
Which
the
is just
first
straight
scenario.
shoot each other, yeah.
Yeah, just straight kill. Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
good game.
Good stuff. All right, so I have in my notes here, did we finally play BattleTech?
Well, I don't know where you guys were, but there was a sci-fi day at the church um, in the past month, and we ended up having 7 people there. And
Nice.
yeah, so first there was several games of Xenos Rampant, and it's an Osprey book, and it's kind of you play Dragon Rampant or Lion Rampant. It's the same thing but sci-fi, but it lets you basically bring whatever army you want and tailor it. So there several people had like 40K armies out there and different kinds. One had a studio army of humans, the other had some, and I'm not a 40K guy, so I don't know what races these are, but one had these little bug things that were running all over the place as well. I was using my Star Wars Legion models, and I actually had 2 Jedi, and it lets you basically have Jedi type powers, and that they're really good at close combat and melee and stuff like that, and they're very fast. So, and a couple other people that had their own armies. The 2 I don't remember. There was I think some Stargrave models. There was actually I think an AT-43 army, that old game. And so that's a lot of fun. It plays really fast. If you like Lion Rampant and Dragon Rampant, it's a really good game. And a lot of the fun is basically building an army and tailoring it to meet your models.
Yeah, I really having a lot of 40K, that would be a go-to for me to bring my models and play with.
Several people had that. Yeah, a couple of people had that. A lot of people use it for 40K. So, and it's got like 20 scenarios, and it's an interesting variety of scenarios. So, and it's fun and it's balanced, and you can take some small vehicles and stuff like that. Each side can bring one vehicle.
How many figures per army?
Usually it's about 20 to 30. My Jedi army was kind of small. I think I had 15 because the 2 Jedi were syncing up all my points. But usually it's like around 20 to 30. So it's not a whole lot. Most people should have that. If you're a 40K player, you'll have 20 or 30 models easily to build an army. Yeah, Paul shaking his head, yes. And I certainly have enough Legion models to do that for a side. So people
Nice.
enjoyed that. And then afterwards, I taught a 6-player BattleTech Alpha Strike game and basically refereed it. And so that went over well. It was, no, only one person had played BattleTech Alpha Strike before, and didn't remember the rules at all. So it was up to me. Everyone controlled, I think, 4 or 5 mechs each, and people had a blast of shooting each other. So yeah.
So how does
Sweet.
that compare with Octoon Panzer? Because the mech, you have a data card too,
The
right?
data cards are a lot simpler in BattleTech. I mean, there are a lot more models on the table for sure. I mean, Achtung Panzer, it's like 3 or 4 per side. I mean, we had basically, I think it was 12 on 12, I think. So yeah. So there 3 people on each side. Yeah. So there was a lot of stuff, but they died pretty quickly, and I think we got the game done in like an hour and a half. And Achtung Panzer does play fast too. We noticed we got our games done in 2 hours, and that was with a lot of flipping through the rule book because we didn't really know what we were doing yet. So
Yeah, we flipped.
yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you don't know the game at all. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it was a great day at the church. Couldn't complain at all. So yeah. So
sweet.
it was it was a theme day. I think the next one is planned for open gaming, but it was a good theme.
All right.
And what kind of like happened in the game? Were there highlights? Was it just
I honestly don't remember how it ended. I remember a lot of mechs were shooting at each other. I can't actually remember what happened or who won. It was basically just trying to teach all the players. Everyone's a little tentative at first, but it was a mix of heavy mechs, and then I remember there were basically 5 objectives on the table, and you had to control 4 to win. But by the end of the game, it was only one side won 3-2 because the other side basically didn't have enough. Basically, was running out of mechs. But they had the losing side just had one speedy mech that they were running around the side, and the other team forgot it was back there, and it just capped an objective. It was behind everyone, then just capped one of the rear objectives because they left it unguarded, and they forgot it was hiding behind a building, and they didn't see that it was there. They forgot all about it, and then at last turn it came out and got an objective. So that was pretty funny.
Nice. There you go.
That always cracks me up when I'm playing 40K and cleaning up after the game and dumping terrain and like, oh
yeah.
Didn't play that one at all.
Forgot about that model.
Yeah, I had painted it so well. It's camouflaged.
Yes.
Way to go.
Yes.
That's another thing I like about bolt action, wait, I have another die. Where is this other unit? And then we
That's
spend a
right.
little 5 minutes looking. Oh, there it is. It's under the tree over there.
So usually the officer I forget about. Oh yeah, the officer.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
you're not going to forget anything in Octung Panzer. It's
Yeah, it's already marked up for you.
nice.
So what was this from the old time? Did they do the World War One bolt action? Did Luis do that, or what happened there?
Yeah,
he
that
did.
was a while, and
Yeah, I
wasn't
mean,
it?
we were actually. It's been a while since we did an episode.
Okay.
So I think we pretty much skipped April. I think our last episode was around early April, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did do the World War One back bolt action. I couldn't
Mhm.
make it. I didn't go. I wanted to because I have World War One French. So, but I
I think
understand they
it's
didn't
six
have
or
a good.
seven players, right?
Yeah.
Or
And that's at
so
Odyssey Games that they're at, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, and then Mark and I have been playing up at Xander's, which
Yeah, thanks for driving up. It's fun.
yeah, I really, really like Xander's.
Yeah, I got the table for the 29th actually, so we're good to go.
Yeah, and the bathroom's clean.
That
So it's
always
like
helps.
the church. The church is very clean, very nice.
That always helps.
Um, and then,
Sweet.
Phil, are you playing at Lost Planet anymore? Do you play there?
Um. No, but it's been quiet there for BattleTech. So I was actually trying to get a group at the closer stop, Paper Hero West LA, and we did get a little group going. We had one introductory game where I taught 4 people how to play a BattleTech Alpha Strike on a Sunday, a couple Sundays ago. Uh, Everyone seemed to like it. One guy got really interested in it though, and he's gone full bore on it now, and he's going to the convention and he's playing in the tournament in a couple, actually next weekend now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's
So
great.
so it went over well, and we're going to try and schedule more games there. I mean, I was actually at Lost Planet yesterday and did some shopping and bought some terrain, but uh,
What'd you buy, Phil?
BattleTech pre-painted terrain, so pre-painted building and a set of pre-painted hills.
That's
Awesome.
not the hex thing, is it?
The hills are kind of hexy, but you could use them anywhere. I mean, they're great. They look fine on a miniatures board without any hex. Even though they are shaped like hexes, the buildings are not. The buildings are gigantic and they don't look like hexes, but the hills actually do.
Oh, very cool. So
Cool.
upcoming events, Strategicon in at LAX, right?
Yeah, that's this coming weekend. It seems, I mean, I'll be doing the regular full weekend of BattleTech. There's not a lot of historical stuff going on, although I did see that someone is giving some Achtung Panzer demos. I think Friday and Sunday. I don't remember exactly which days. So if you're interested, that'll be there. Uh, I I think there might be like a ACW game. I think there might be Wings of War one day. Um, but one of the things is on Saturday there's there's an open gaming event also at the church as well.
Yeah, I'm scheduled to run a bolt action game at the church Saturday.
I unfortunately can't make it after work. So
Bummer.
I
On
know.
Memorial Day, that's not fun.
No, not fun, but it has to happen.
Okay.
June 8th, Blood and Plunder at Odyssey Games. Is that for our Major Wellington?
Yeah, so Luis is running that. I don't know too much about it. I know that they play Blood and Plunder there often. It's on the calendar. It's been a while since I've played there, and I keep missing Blood and Plunder because I've got a little Blood and Plunder force.
Yeah, no, it's a fun game. I haven't played no probably since our last outing, but I have a force. I like it. It's a good game.
And then the infamous 22nd of June, which was the launch of the Wehrmacht into Russia, right?
Yes, true. And the Fat Lardy Day?
Yep.
Is that the Fat Lardy Day? Yeah, so
Yes.
there'll be a whole convention of Fat Lardy games at the church, I believe, and then culminating with, I think, a little potluck.
Oh,
So,
I think I can make that one. So I'll be
so it
excited
should be
to.
really fun. If you want to try out, there'll be like a little smorgasbord of Fat Lardy games you can try out and see what you like and don't like, and it's good times.
And then when is Clovis? When is that happening?
That'll be July 12th, 13th, 14th. I think those are the dates. We're going to be there just one day, the 13th, doing the bolt action up there. So, but that's a good cause. It's for the Vietnam veterans, and so it helps those guys out, and they put on a good show and a good spread with hot dogs and chili dogs, and it's good times.
So Mark and I are going to play Case Blue.
I think so. Well, you know what? I forgot the game we had played before when you said let's finish the campaign. So which one were we finishing?
We were doing D-Day, weren't we?
Yeah, did you want to finish that? I mean, we can talk about that later. I didn't want
Yeah.
to override you with Case Blue, if that's
Well, I mean, there's some really great scenarios in there, but we do have a grudge match going on. I think you won last.
yeah. Then I thought about it after I said Case Blue, and I'm like, wait a second, I think we had a pretty good D-Day thing going. So
It's getting close to June, the time of the year for D-Day. So yeah.
yeah, maybe we should bounce back to D-Day and finish that campaign.
Definitely, let's do that.
Okay, cool.
And you were German, I was British. Is that right?
I believe that was trick. I believe that was
Trick
it
question.
It might have been opposite actually.
Yeah, it might have been opposite. Yeah.
Because I remember you having a Goliath at that geeky. What is it? Geeky
Oh
Tees?
yeah, I did have the Goliath. Okay, so I'm German.
Yeah.
And you're British. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So has anyone been to the new Geeky Tees yet? Now that they've reopened yet? Okay, well, let's hear about that then.
Okay, so it's
Nice.
freaking amazing. It's huge. I mean, huge. There's rooms everywhere. They're all private rooms all over the place. They have this huge Tyranid coming out of the wall for the open gaming space where they run their 40K events, and a ton of terrain, and it's all beautifully painted and organized. You have to put it back every time. You have to pay for the tables, so that is beautiful because it makes everyone put the terrain back.
Be responsible.
Yeah, be responsible. And the retail spaces probably roughly the same size as what they had because it was all spread around, but now it's just much more compact. And they're still working on rooms. There's still rooms that aren't open yet, and each room has a theme, and it's just amazing. So you'll go into like a Clue room, and it's just decked out like Clue, or you go into a sci-fi room, and it's really worth it.
I'll have to get down there this summer. I'll have some time.
Yeah, we have to play some games down there.
For sure.
Can you reserve rooms ahead of time, or does that not?
Yes.
Or okay.
Yep. Yeah, so you reserve rooms ahead of time. You resume for 2 4-hour blocks, I think, or 3-hour blocks. I'm not sure. One of the two.
Awesome.
Yeah, very awesome. Well, okay. So when's our next podcast?
It'll be a month from today, probably, right?
Oh,
Or do we
okay.
well, we were a little late on this one, right?
Yeah, things came up.
I mean, we're already at the end of the month here.
Yeah, I mean, we could do the 9th.
That works for me.
That works.
Okay, and then we'll have our big bolt action to talk about.
Yes,
Phil,
for
Phil,
sure.
what are you going to have to talk about?
I'll talk about the con, and I'll talk a little bit more about the upcoming Too Fat Lardy's Day, because I will be running What a Cowboy there.
Woo! Howdy, partner.
That sounds
that
fun.
Nice. I like the cowboy games. I got to get back in. You know, there's so many games. It's just like, what do you do? What do you do?
True, true. All right, so we will see everyone for episode 12. 12 on June 9th, which I think is the day they started attacking Khan in seriousness.
There you go.
80 years ago.
For sure. And you said it's our big anniversary special, right?
Yep. And we'll have lots to report.
What are you getting us for our anniversary, Paul?
I'm giving you a win. One free reroll.
Oh, okay. Right on. Nice.
All right, parting words. Phil.
Hope to see some of you guys at the convention or one of the events at the church.
And Mark.
Paint something off your pile of shame.
Yes. And mine is try to not have a mantrum.
There you go.
It's just a game. We're just playing with little figures. All right, everyone. We'll see you next time.
All right.